The news is breaking right now across all global networks, a seismic event in the conflict, a strike that could redefine its very course. We are receiving confirmed reports from multiple intelligence sources that Ukrainian forces have executed a profound and devastating deep strike operation, one that has allegedly exposed a secret command bunker complex directly linked to Russian President Vladimir Putin. This is not a routine attack on a barracks or a supply depot. This is a surgical precision strike aimed at the very heart of Russian command and control, a target long speculated about, but never before confirmed. The operation reportedly involved a coordinated volley of American-supplied ATACMS long-range missiles, these weapons with their range and cluster munition. Warheads were the key to unlocking this heavily fortified target. The strike occurred under the cover of darkness in the early hours of the morning. Local time, the target was a location in occupied territory, one that had been under surveillance by Western intelligence agencies for months. The site appeared to be a military training ground or a logistics hub, but beneath the surface, according to the new intelligence, lay something far more sinister, a multi-level, deep underground bunker designed to withstand a nuclear blast and intended as a safe haven for the Russian leadership during a crisis. The bunker was part of a network, a place where Putin could theoretically command his forces in relative safety. The existence of such facilities has always been an open secret, but their precise locations are among the most closely guarded secrets of the Russian state. Today, that secrecy has been shattered. The Ukrainian strike was not aimed at destroying the bunker outright. That would be a near impossible task for conventional weapons. Instead, the strategy was one of exposure and isolation. The ATACMS missiles saturated the area above the bunker, their cluster submunitions designed to obliterate any surface. Infrastructure communication, towers, power generation units, vehicle parks, and security perimeters. Everything that connected the hidden bunker to the outside world was turned into Swiss cheese. The imagery we are starting to see shows a landscape of craters and utter devastation. The ground is scorched, vehicles are burning, and the entrances to the underground facility are now visible from satellite imagery. They were previously camouflaged, but the bombardment has torn away that disguise. This was a message written in fire and high explosives, a message that nowhere is safe. The operation was the product of meticulous planning and real-time intelligence fusion. It is believed that US satellites and NATO AWACS aircraft provided the initial tracking and confirmation of high-value movements in and out of the area. This data was then fused with signals intelligence from agencies like the GUR Ukraine's military intelligence, which had been monitoring encrypted communications linked to the site. The timing was perfect. The strike coincided with a reported gathering of senior Russian military officials, adding to the potential impact of the operation. The use of ATACMS is particularly significant. For months, Ukraine had been pleading for these longer-range systems to strike deep behind Russian lines. The US initially hesitated, fearing escalation, but eventually provided them. And this strike is the clearest demonstration of their game-changing potential. The MGM-140 Army tactical missile system, launched from a HIMARS platform, can fly over 300 kilometers and deliver a payload of hundreds of bomblets across a wide area. It is the ideal weapon for disabling a large complex without needing a direct hit on a hardened structure. This is a new phase of the war, the phase of strategic paralysis. Ukraine is no longer just targeting the front lines. It is reaching deep into the Russian rear to dismantle the nervous system of the invasion force, command posts, supply nodes, and now even the leadership's personal bunkers are in the crosshairs. The psychological impact of this strike on the Russian high command cannot be overstated. The illusion of safety and control has been violently punctured. If Ukraine can find and strike a bunker of this significance, then no command post in occupied Ukraine is truly secure. It forces a rethink of entire operational security protocols. It creates an atmosphere of paranoia and distrust. The Russian narrative of a secure hinterland is now collapsing in real time. We are awaiting official statements from Kyiv and Moscow. Kyiv will likely remain coy, not claiming the strike directly, but hinting at a significant success against a command target, Moscow. On the other hand, will likely deny everything they will call it a fake news provocation, or claim the strike hit an empty field or a fake decoy target, but the satellite imagery and the intelligence leaks will tell a different story. The evidence is mounting, and it points to one of the most audacious Ukrainian operations of the entire war. This is more than a tactical victory. It is an intelligence coup and a massive psychological operation, all rolled into one. The skies of conflict are no longer just about fighter jets, dogfighting, or drones dropping grenades. They are about the long reach of missiles, the invisible flow of intelligence, and the ability to strike at the very core of an enemy's decision-making cycle. This is modern warfare. This is the reality of the skies of conflict. The initial shockwave from the ATACMS impact has settled, but the political and strategic aftershocks are just beginning to ripple. Across the globe, the exposure of Putin's alleged bunker is not just a military event, it is a profound geopolitical earthquake, one that challenges the fundamental power dynamics of this war. In the first part of our coverage, we detailed the strike itself, the weapons used, and the immediate tactical implications. Now we must delve into the deeper consequences. What does this mean for Putin's personal security doctrine? What does it reveal about Western intelligence support for Ukraine, and how will Russia likely respond? The bunker was more than concrete and steel. It was a symbol of Kremlin power and impunity. Its exposure is a symbolic defeat of immense proportions. For the Russian president to have one of his designated safe havens in occupied territory laid bare for the world to see is a humiliation of the highest order. It suggests that his inner circle, his movements, and his contingency plans are more transparent to Western intelligence than previously believed. This will inevitably breed suspicion within the Kremlin, who leaked the information. Was it a mole within the Russian security apparatus, or was it purely technical intelligence gathered from satellites and signal intercepts? Either way, the result is the same: a severe erosion of trust at the highest levels of the Russian state. This event also serves as the ultimate validation of Ukraine's long-range strike strategy. For over a year, military analysts have argued that providing Ukraine with weapons like ATACMS Storm Shadow and SCALP EG cruise missiles was essential to degrading Russia's ability to wage war effectively. This strike is the exclamation point on that argument. It demonstrates that these weapons are not just for show. They are capable of achieving strategic effects that alter the course of the conflict by threatening the command structure itself. Ukraine can introduce friction and delay into Russian decision-making processes. Commanders will be hesitant to gather in large groups. They will be forced to disperse and communicate less effectively, which in turn slows down their operational tempo on the front lines. The role of NATO, and specifically the United States, must be examined in stark terms. While Washington maintains it does not provide targeting intelligence directly, the level of coordination required for such a precise strike is immense. The satellites that identified the site, the signals intelligence that confirmed its importance, the provision of the very missiles used, all of this points to a deep and integrated support network that effectively makes Ukraine an extension of Western intelligence and strike capabilities. This is a proxy war in name only. The technological and intelligence integration is so deep that the lines are increasingly blurred. Russia's response will be multifaceted and dangerous. First, we can expect a furious but deniable campaign of cyber attacks against Ukrainian and Western infrastructure. Second, there will be a wave of missile and drone strikes against Ukrainian cities, an attempt to inflict terror and demonstrate that Russia can still hit back. Third, and most worryingly, we may see an escalation in nuclear rhetoric. The Kremlin will frame this as an existential attack by the West, a direct threat to the life of the Russian president, and they will use this to justify their nuclear saber-rattling. We are already seeing this in the Russian information space. Commentators on state television are calling for drastic measures, labeling the strike as an act of terrorism that justifies any and all responses. The world must be prepared for a period of heightened nuclear risk following this event. However, there is another possibility, one that is less dramatic but more insidious. Russia may choose to absorb this blow and learn from it. They will accelerate the hardening and dispersal of their command and control systems. They will invest more in decoys and deception operations. They will become a harder target to hit in the long run, but in the short term, the damage is done. The myth of Russian military invincibility and the security of its leadership in Ukraine is broken for the Ukrainian people. This strike is a massive morale boost. It proves that their military can reach out and touch the architects of this war, even in their most secure locations. It reinforces the belief that with continued Western support, victory is not just a dream, but a tangible possibility for the rest of the world. It is a stark reminder of how modern conflicts are fought with bits and bytes, guiding missiles to their targets with devastating precision. The era of fortress-like command centers providing absolute safety is over. The skies of conflict are now transparent to those with the right technology and the will to use it. This is a defining moment, the day the deep strike became the dominant strategy in the war in Ukraine, the day a bunker was exposed, and with it the vulnerabilities of a regime built on power and fear. The war has entered a new and even more unpredictable phase, and we at Skies of Conflict will continue to monitor every development as this historic story continues to unfold.